5 a.m. here in Washington, where we have new CNN poll numbers this morning in two critical battleground states. The news is not great for President Biden and his campaign. The numbers show Donald Trump leading in both Georgia and Michigan. In Georgia, a state Biden carried by a very narrow margin in 2020, registered voters say they prefer Trump over Biden by 5%. In Michigan, which Trump won in 2016 but Biden carried in 2020, our poll now showing Trump 10 points up. Note that a full 10% of those polled in each state say that they wouldn't support either candidate. Trump's margin over Biden is significantly boosted in both states by people who say they did not vote in 2020. These less engaged voters favored Trump by 26 points in Georgia and 40 points in Michigan.
The woke activists disguised as journalists over at CNN are absolutely shell-shocked. They're experiencing a collective concussion. It's 2016 all over again. In fact, for them, it's even worse. We're going to see the level of unprecedented poll dominance in the primaries and in the general election that promises to make the liberal media's worst nightmare of a Trump landslide the most epic reality yet. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. If you haven't done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. And don't forget,
I'll be back.
That's right, gang. He is back. It's time to show our support and celebrate the great return by clicking on the link below and getting your very own Trumpinator 2024 bobblehead in preparation for Donald Trump's glorious reascendance to the United States presidency. This collectible bobblehead from Proud Patriots is made with the highest quality material, and it's really a must-have for any Trump fan who wants to send some positive energy towards what's shaping up to be the most glorious political comeback in history. Now, don't wait, gang. There are just a limited number of these collectibles. You don't want to be caught paying way more later on eBay from someone who bought one now. So whatever you do, don't wait. Click on that link below right now and show your support for Trump 2024 today. Gang, we're just 30-plus days away from the Iowa caucus. Its caucus is set for January 15th. It is the first official vote of the 2024 season, and the polls that are coming in are just beyond belief for President Trump. The Des Moines Register poll, which is considered the gold standard poll for Iowa, has an excellent track record of predicting wins in the Hawkeye state, often down to the single percentage point. It now officially has Trump up 32 points over DeSantis. Even though DeSantis has spent tens of millions of dollars in Iowa, he's visited all 99 counties. Iowa's always been his must-win state to come out as a viable political force in this primary, and he's down 32 points. Trump has surpassed the majority threshold of 51% to DeSantis's 19%. I mean, this is an absolutely insurmountable lead. Just to put this in perspective, this is the biggest recorded lead this close to a competitive GOP caucus in the history of Des Moines Register polling. This primary is over. This primary is over before it even began. This is why South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is publicly saying that it is time for Republicans to unite around President Trump. Enough with the kabuki theater primary. Enough with the frankly dishonest media coverage, especially coming from Fox, that portrays these single-digit midgets as having even a shred of a chance to win this nomination. The fact is, Trump is going to win in a landslide in every single primary state. I mean, we've simply never seen dominance like this. And that's just for the primaries. As we saw earlier, when you turn to the general election, the telltale signs for Biden are just as ominous. CNN's own polling now shows that were the election held today, Trump would win in the key swing states of Georgia and Michigan by numbers no woke journalists could ever have imagined. Trump is not just handily winning Georgia by 5 points. He's beating Biden by an astonishing 10 points in Michigan. He has a double-digit lead over Biden in freaking Michigan. And check this nugget out. When you look at the crosstabs among those who did not vote in 2020, Trump leads Biden by 26 in Michigan and 40 in Georgia. I'll say that again. Among those who did not vote in 2020, Trump leads Biden by 26 in Michigan and 40 in Georgia. I mean, it's 2016 all over again, when you had people who didn't vote in any previous presidential election come out and vote for Trump overwhelmingly. I mean, it's worse because Trump never led in any of those polls back in 2016. Now he's crushing it. If you look at the swing state averages here, there are polling averages in all battleground states since July of this year. Look at this. In Georgia, it's Trump by 6. In Arizona, it's Trump by 5. In Nevada, it's Trump by 3. These are the averages. In Pennsylvania, it's Trump up by 2. In Michigan, it's Trump up by 1. So this polling average fits with an extensive study conducted by Stack Data that conducted a very detailed survey of battleground state counties, interviewing over 15,000 voters. And they found that were the election held today, Trump would trounce Biden easily with 300 electoral votes. He would electorally crush Biden. One of the reasons this is happening, one of the reasons why we're seeing Biden in particular just politically implode right in front of our very eyes, is actually, ironically, the Hunter Biden scandals. And this is because one of the selling points from the legacy media in 2020 was that Joe Biden is the single most ethical, moral man to ever run for office ever. I mean, remember, he was beyond reproach. Yet that Hunter Biden laptop, Russian disinformation. Joe Biden, the single most ethical man on the planet, would never, ever involve himself in anything like that. Do you remember that ultra-leftist PBS White House reporter, Yamiche Alcindor, during a press conference? Biden, I think it was the very first press conference of his presidency. This was a few years back. She stood up and gave this gushing ode to Biden, claiming that people were crossing our southern border illegally by the hundreds of thousands. Because she literally said this, because they perceive you, Mr. Biden, as somebody who got elected as a moral and decent man. Do you remember that? They're coming because they want to bask in the glow of your moral decency. I mean, you can't make this shit up. That depiction of Biden as the most moral man in history has imploded. All the polls show that the vast majority of voters see Biden as corrupt, as having participated in Hunter's illicit overseas business activities. And so what we have to get here is that as the economy teeters, as recession looms, as inflation continues to make basic material conditions untenable, as war breaks out all over the world, the only thing working in Biden's favor, his supposed upstanding moral character, has now itself collapsed. And so the only thing standing in the way of a complete political collapse has now disappeared. And now Biden is in a political freefall. Again, with economic indicators only getting worse, you can expect his polls to fall even further. So there's no question that as of today, the legacy media is panicking. Their worst nightmare of a Trump landslide is looking more and more likely with each passing day. Gang, as many of you know, we have unfortunately been completely and totally demonetized, which is putting our daily communication with one another at risk like never before. Now, we are actively working on getting this resolved, but as things stand, this channel has, without any warning, been totally and completely demonetized. And as Elon Musk said so powerfully last week, the whole point of these demonetization efforts is to deliberately try to make us patriots feel like we're all alone. They want to sever our relationship with each other and force on us a kind of digital solitary confinement so as to demoralize us and discourage us like never before. But to their horror, it's not working. Over this past week, you have carried this channel like never before. We've had more people than ever make the courageous decision to bypass big tech and join our Insiders Club. We have direct access to one another that can never be interrupted by big tech overlords. Over the last 7 days, we've seen literally thousands of you come to our rescue. And you've done it in 2 ways. You've signed up for our free newsletter and you've officially joined our Insiders Club. Those 2 acts alone are enough for us to collectively stand together and never, ever have our relationship severed. So I'm inviting the rest of you to do the same today, just by clicking on that link below and signing up for our newsletter and joining our Insiders Club. You are guaranteeing that there is nothing that big tech can do to get between us and make us feel like we're in a digital solitary confinement. It's as simple as clicking on the link below right now and opting into our free email newsletter. And once you do that, you can financially support us by joining our Insiders Club. Gang, from the bottom of my heart, I cannot thank you enough for your support during a time like this. You are my heroes, and it will be my mission to express my appreciation for every single one of you each and every week.